This is Travis Walton, and on November 5th, 1975, Mr. Walton went missing mysteriously for 5 days and 4 hours. Mr. Walton had been working for a few years as a lumberjack in a national forest park near Snowflake, Arizona. Now, on November 5th, Mr. Walton says that he and 6 of his other co-workers were in a work truck driving to a certain site that they had to assess. Mr. Walton says that as they were driving, they began to hear a high-pitched buzzing sound. And since they worked in the national forest, they brushed it off as though it could be anything. But only moments later, they noticed a huge flying saucer hovering over the truck. The driver of that truck stopped the vehicle, and only Mr. Walton got out. Mr. Walton says he got out to find out what exactly this was, what was going on, and also he said he was being brave because the others were too afraid to do so. As I was researching this story, I thought to myself, this could not be Black people. Like, we would have heard the noise, and then, to see something big hovering over your truck, somebody would have been like, what is this? And then the next person would have responded, I don't know. I mind my business. Let's get the hell up out of here. And that would have been the end of that. But Mr. Walton, he got out of the truck to kind of assess and see what was going on. Mr. Walton says, as he looked up into the saucer, and all of a sudden a huge beam of light just kind of smacked him in the face, and it knocked him unconscious. At that point, his co-workers were spooked, they were terrified, and they actually drove off and left him where he was in this national forest. The co-workers actually went to the police to report everything that they had found, everything that they had seen, the saucer, the beam of light knocking Mr. Walton unconscious. And at this point, the authorities and the police thought that, hey, something happened in this forest, but they were thinking that maybe the co-workers had murdered Mr. Walton. So they then began a huge police search. They had helicopters, they had sniffing dogs. They conducted a huge search for Mr. Walton's body because they truly believed that his co-workers were trying to create some elaborate story as to why Mr. Walton had been missing and left in the national forest. If you've done your research, you know a lot of people go missing in national forests. Mr. Walton also says that after he was knocked unconscious with this beam of light, he later woke up in what he presumed to be a hospital room with 3 bald-headed figures around him. And he says he started to argue with the bald-headed figures. I don't know why this is making me laugh, but he says he started to argue with the bald-headed figures, and then a human man with a helmet on came and escorted him out of that hospital room. He was later found walking on the side of a highway by himself, and the person that found him says that he was still saying that he could see the saucer, that he was seeing it was flying away. And Mr. Walton says that he doesn't have any more memories other than what he shared. He says that there's bits and pieces that he remembered, but there's a lot that he did not remember. He also mentioned that before he was found walking on the side of the highway, that there was some other humans that covered his face with a plastic mask. And then, that's when he was found. But he says that's the last thing that he could really remember. He just remembered the hospital room, the bald-headed figures, the being escorted by someone with the helmet, human with the helmet, and then, the mask. And then, bam, he's walking on the side of the highway and he's found. Now, police, again, they thought he was really dead. So they did not expect to have him just walking on the side of the road. And, so of course they closed their murder case. And then this story got a lot of, interest. But police, even though they had helicopters, they had scent dogs, they can't explain where Mr. Walton could have possibly been, because they searched. But it is a national forest. So I guess the question is, do you believe that Mr. Walton was abducted by aliens? The police had Mr. Walton and all of his co-workers take a polygraph test, and it was determined that they were all telling the truth. They all passed their polygraph test, except for one that came back inconclusive. So police, they kind of just closed it and brushed it off. Do you think he actually had an encounter with the UFO? Or do you believe there was some way, somehow, he was able to go undetected in this national forest by scent dogs and a helicopter? I don't know. Leave it in the comments. Thank you guys for watching the video. Support the channel. Also, support us by giving big thanks. Also, go to patreon.com/DaishaShakila if you want to support us further. If not, that's completely okay too. Let me know what you think about Mr. Walton. Do you believe in aliens? I do.